Yeah, good morning, everyone. Today's section is basically on technical writing, learning and earning. So our first speaker for today, Joy Olawanle, will guide us through the essential aspect of learning technical writing, how to discover the skills needed, the tools, the resources required to excel in this profession. So, and the second speaker, that is Solomon, will be talking about the aspect of the career prospects and income potentials in technical writing. It will be unveiling opportunities that await you in this field and also share stories and how to explore the lucrative side of technical writing. So technical writing is a big aspect of tech world. Most newbies get started, through technical writing. So it's actually a good part for you to explore, especially when you don't have a actual job waiting for you. Then you can just use technical writing to kickstart. Today, we'll be inviting our first speaker, that's Jola Olawanle, to take us through the learning aspects. Jola Olawanle, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, over to you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Please, can you hear me? Like, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe. Thank you very much, GDG Ogbomoso, for the opportunity to speak here. And I hope whatever I'll share here will be very valuable to everyone who is joining this call and everyone who gets to watch the recordings of this session. So the host mentioned, I'll be speaking on getting started with technical writing, everything about getting started, and then Solomon would speak on like earning. So I'll be sharing my screen. I have a very short slide, and I feel that would be better than just talking. So I think I share the desktop. I'm trying not to share a lot. Sorry, I have to do one setting. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess he's having a little issue with his system. Let's just give him a few minutes to join us. Thank you. Yeah, all right, before he joins, can anyone just tell us what he or she knows about technical writing? Okay, I think he's back.
Sorry, I had to do settings. I've not used Zoom on this system.
Oh, that was much.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
please. I think I need access to be able to share my screen.
Okay, a minute.
I
Can you
think I
check now?
got. Yeah, I got that. Okay. I should then just video screen. Yeah, can you maybe see my screen? Can
Oh,
you
we can
see?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Sorry for all the inconveniences. So, like I said, good morning, everyone. I'm Joe. So I was talking on like getting started with technical writing, kind of an introduction to technical writing. So I'm Joel. I'm a front-end engineer, majors in teaching everything I know, and marketing tech products to developers, like by writing as much as possible. I work for Kingstar. Kingstar is like a PaaS company, platform as a service company. We offer hosting, application hosting, static site hosting, WordPress hosting, database hosting. I'm also a staff at Recruit Camp, freelance writer for so many companies like Akmamba, iGraph, and all. Chapter lead for Oscar Capital, Open Source Community Africa, and lots more. So today, talking about get started with technical writing, and one basic thing is to start by explaining what technical writing is all about, who a technical writer is, so like an introduction to what this whole session is all about. So let's start by what's technical writing. So technical writing is like an art of providing detail-oriented instruction to help users understand a specific skill or product. You notice that skill and product are highlighted. Now, when we say it's an art of providing detail-oriented instruction, so for instance, a company trying to launch a product, you launch a product without proper documentation of the product. You just find out that only the engineers that came up with the product can use the product, because they need to like explain how the product works, how I can use the product, and what I tend to benefit from using the product. So like this is where technical writing comes in. Now, for you to understand products, for you to understand maybe how to use React, how to use Vue.js, how to use Solid, how to learn blockchain, you need to like maybe read documentations, read articles, read guides. And this is like where technical writing comes in. This is where technical writers come in. The people who write this documentation, the people who write these manuals, people who write this how to guide, the people who write these tutorials, we refer to them as like technical writers. Anything. So you hear people say you're writing when you're writing about anything technical. So anything technical ranges even instruction manual, user manuals. So it's like a very broad field that covers a lot. So now the areas of technical writing are like far a wide field. It's wide, it's broad. So but the major ones like talk about how to guides and tutorials, end user documentation, instruction manuals, white papers, professional reports, and lots more. So it's a very broad field. It's a very broad field. And so with this explanation, I think the next question is, at least you already like have an understanding of what technical writing is. Okay, he said it's all about writing technical pieces like information about products, how to learn something. So how can like you get started? So you always hear people say just start. You have to like I want to learn how to drive a car. And they're like, yeah, you go to driving school and you start immediately. They put you in a car and they start showing you how to do. So just like that, how to write. So how to get started technical writing, it's for you to start writing. Like so let's first understand why you should actually write, because when you understand the importance of something, like it's like drives your passion towards that thing. So one thing is writing is an highly paid skill. Is generally, aside if you take away take away the technical part, writing generally is a very high is an highly paid skill in all areas. People who write books, people who write these things you read, they are paid for what they do, you understand? So when you research online how much a technical writer earns annually, a fair average would be $75K. Like not okay, let's not say fair average, like a high range would be around the $75K, which is like a high amount. That's like almost like $6 to $7K per month. So this shows that it's a profitable skill, you understand? And as usual, you don't need a certificate, you don't need BSc, BTech in English language to become a technical writer. It has to do with like consistency, as long as you can put words together and explain a concept, a tool, a product in clear terms. Developers are not after grammar, they're just after understanding something, like understanding the concept. So when you have proper understanding about the topic, so it does, you can write about that topic. Then when you need to grow your network, share ideas, solve problems, so you write to like share ideas, to solve people's problems. So those are like reasons why you should write. And like some skills that are required for you to become a technical writer, at least you need to know how to put words together. You need to understand proper use of English, and these are things you can learn by just sitting on your sitting in front of your system, and like reading things. Like the more you read, the more you understand how to like put these things together. So it's something you can actually learn if you want to learn, and the more you even do it, you get to like understand how to use English properly. Then when you know how to explain, you should learn how to explain things clearly and simply. So there's a popular quote by Albert Einstein, where like, if you can't explain this to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. So, and this is like very true. You want to explain how React works. You want to explain how React works, and you have never used React before. You just watch. So it's like very difficult for you to explain how React works, because you are not able to bring in your own experience into like that content. You understand? And you should also possess some writing skills. It is believed that writers are created rather than born. So, and the only way to learn how to write, is to write actually. So those are like some skills. Like I asked earlier on, I was like, learning can you imagine learning how to code? Can you imagine learning a tool? Can you imagine learning a product? Can you imagine getting started with your tech career programming without written content, without content by people? You see, it will not be easy, because we are not born with this knowledge. You actually learn this knowledge. So you see the place of technical writing and why it is important. And Eddie Young once wrote that, based on a survey carried out by GitHub in 2017, the major problem encountered in many open source projects is that they lacked perfect documentation. Their documentations are either incomplete or confusing, making it very difficult for people to use their tools. Even after they have built very solid projects, they have built very solid tools, people find it difficult to use those tools when there is very confusing documentation and incomplete documentation. So this highlights the importance, the role, and the significance of technical writers and technical writing. So you see, documentation of open source projects is arguably as necessary as the software itself. So some people like tend to like ditch the technical writing as maybe a side gig or something you just do on the side. But this is like a very high paying skill that can actually fund you for life. You understand that kind of thing, because it's as important as the software itself. You understand? Because a software without proper documentation is like, it's good but not good, because people can't use it. You build something for people to use it. You understand? So best practices to technical writing. So generally, we're just trying to see how to get started with technical writing. You've understood what technical writing is all about, and I'm trying to make you understand the importance specifically of technical writing. And you have also seen what is required. Like I said, you don't need a BSc or a BTech or a certificate. It's something you can learn. As long as you can put words together, especially like almost everyone knows how to chat. So as long as you can put your words together and you're open to learning, you can actually evolve and like become a technical writer. And I'm trying to make you understand that it's not like a side gig or a side thing. People actually do it for a living, you understand? Because companies are ready to invest in technical writers. So let's look at some best practices of technical writing, some technical writing best practices. So for instance, you like love everything I've been saying and you're like thinking of getting started, of like coming and start writing about things you're learning. Like one best way to start is by writing about things you learn, things you know. The more you can like explain these things, then the better it becomes for you to like write things you just start learning about. So something like that. For instance, you have been learning how to center divs in CSS, So the first thing you do is like create an outline. So one thing technical writing does is like it exposes you to various ways to do something. You get to like explore, you get to like research about that thing, and you get to like understand that concept more. For instance, I'm learning how to center divs in CSS. Now I only know one method, which is by maybe using the display flex and like positioning to center, you understand? But by the time I start doing research, I start noticing that, oh, there are different methods to do this thing. I can use the position absolute and like use transform and like place it in the center, or maybe use grid, or like you start seeing different ways to put this in the center, and you start seeing limitations to one method, why one method is preferable, when one method should be used and when another should not be used. Now you start seeing and you start understanding these things better. But in the norms, if we are not going to like write, you would have just known that, okay, once I use position, it goes to the center and that is all, you understand? But like by writing, you understand more ways to do something, the limitations, the advantages of using a method over another method. And like the first thing to do is to create a solid outline. You've created your outline, then the next thing to do is to start writing, following this outline. You start writing clear sentences. You don't need to organize vocabularies together. You don't need to use words that makes us to use our dictionary. Every sentence, I need to open the dictionary to check 5 words. You understand? For developers don't have time for that. We don't care about maybe using all these idioms that make, you understand, just write clear sentences. Let me understand what I want to know and like and get out. So, and avoid writing long paragraphs. People like tend to skip sentences that are becoming boring. So you see, it's when you're reading stories that you can see that a whole page is just one paragraph. No. But like for technical writing, like try and like break it, give them breathing space in between like paragraphs, you understand? 5 lines, try and break, you understand? So that like it's easy to even skim through, you understand? And like follow one pattern, be consistent. If you're using an active voice, use it throughout. If you're using single person pronoun, the him, the they, their, are, like you're just like consistent. If you are using capital letters for your titles, like use it throughout. Don't use capital letter for the H2 and use small, like be consistent, you understand? So it like makes everything like read well and like presentable. Then try and include pictures. Say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Use them in content properly and attribute these images. If you're not like the creator of those images, try and attribute them to avoid plagiarism. And then if you're going to include code in your content, embed this code. Don't screenshot code, because if you should actually use yourself as like a case study. When you read articles on how to do things, you notice that you tend to like just copy this code and paste them directly into your text editor. But by the time you're using screenshots, that means you're like giving the developer, not, we cannot even say double work, let's say triple work, because they try to like put it side by side, start copying and like making sure they avoid the errors, typo errors and all. So you see, developers tend to like skip articles like this. So like embed this code rather than like using screenshots. You can use GitHub GS Markdown to embed your codes. Then ensure there is enough white space. Give the writers enough room to breathe. Like use bullets. Avoid jamming content into paragraph. For instance, you're like saying that the this so and so person, like the following people worked on the project, and you're like using commas. Instead, just like list it out so that it's easy to like just read through it as a stretch, you understand? And then check your grammar. Nobody is perfect. So try and like go over your content like over and over, and like try and use tools like Grammarly, Hemingway, like to like scan through your product, because like we are humans and we're prone to like make errors, you understand? There are a lot of tools that you can leverage on to like improve your content, because now you know how to like get started, how to like write. So like you should also leverage tools to make your work easy, you understand? So for researching, you can make use of Google, Stack Overflow and likes, because as developers or as designers or as people in tech, we all know how to research. We all know how to find solutions to our problems. So then the next thing should be like writing tools. So you would want to like write on platforms that even maybe after you close your browser or maybe your system shuts down, these contents are maybe synced to the internet, to your cloud, and like so you can make use of Notion, Dropbox, Google Docs, even MS Words, maybe like you understand, and save your write-ups, you understand. Then publishing tools, it's not enough to just write and keep them on your system or on your cloud storage. You should share them with people so that people read. The more you write, like people drop feedbacks, like so you can make use of publishing tools like dev.to, Ashnode, this Medium. These platforms make it easy for you to create accounts for free, you understand? Then drawing tools, you can use draw.io, Escali, and all like that. And documentation tools, use to document a product. You can make use of Gitbook, Swagger, Doxarius, like a React-based platform developed by Facebook. So you can leverage on those tools, you understand? Then at this point, I've said a lot and I know you have questions. So I don't know, I think you have to keep your questions to the end, but let me go over like the last part. You see, many of us want to earn, and I think Solomon is going to touch on those areas. But the truth is, you can earn from technical writing. So since Solomon is going to touch on that, I think, and he's also going to touch on how you can get paying gigs as a technical writer. So I think I've done a lot of justice to how you can get started. So I have some resources. I'm going to share them with the organizers. So maybe it can be packaged into email. And yeah, so I think that's all from me. Yeah, so I think my final words is to start writing technical content, you do not need a degree, like I've said. As you're building your portfolio, as you're getting practical experience in the tech world, like try and write one or two things down and publish it. Don't be scared, hit the publish button and close the tab and come back to it later. You'll be surprised by the reactions you see. You may think what you're going to write is not important, but you'll be surprised to see comments like people saying this is like the best article they have read explaining something, because the way you explain a concept is far different from how another person will explain the concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that section. I think that was a very insightful section. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we would be able to get some of the resources from you and send it across to participants that registered on our platform via email, so they can have access to them and some of the resources you have for us today. Thank you so much once again. Yeah, the next section will be by Solomon. He's going to talk about the earning aspects and how to find lucrative deals when it comes to technical writing. Yeah, so Solomon, over to you.
All right, thank you. Hello everyone. Can you hear me very well?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So, little bit of intro. I'm Solomon, or you can call me Lord Goose X, and I work full-time as a technical writer for a Web3 company where my day-to-day involves managing the documentation portal. So now, for this session, I'll be talking about how you can make an income of technical writing, how you can basically make money off technical writing, build a career off it, and actually earn money from technical writing. So now I will not be presenting any slides, as I aim to have an interactive session. So at any point in time, if you have a question, feel free to unmute your mic or raise your hand and ask them. I want something to be, I just want it to be like interactive, where everybody like contributes and then we actually like converse. Because when it comes to topics like this, things change every day, and like there's no like full standard that, oh, once you just follow this, or like this is like recommended routes that you should just follow. So I want something that Everybody puts in their idea, and at the end of the day, we all learn something. So now, basically, we're talking about making money from technical writing. Now you might be wondering, since technical writing is just about writing, why exactly would companies actually pay people to do it? And the reason is it actually benefits them at the end of the day. Like the previous speaker said, like Joel said, technical writing is an art where you write about like a particular company or a particular product or a particular technical concept and all. So now you also said something about some set of developers have built a product. But now the only people who can use that product is actually the developers who built it because they know about it. Now, let's say there's a company like, let me use Paystack, for example. Paystack has a product where you can integrate it into any website and then you can accept payments. When Paystack was first built, the only people who knew how to integrate Paystack were the developers who built it. But now Paystack wanted people to actually integrate their platform or integrate their product into their various websites and all. So their first step of approach can be like, oh, let's have like a documentation. So they would go forward and hire like a technical writer, and then this technical writer will create like guides, how-tos, and a full documentation portal that shows people or that shows readers how to actually integrate this Paystack product. So it can be like a website, let's say docs.paystack.com or something. Then when you open it, you see a set of guides, more like, let's say like a website, more something like a blog, but it's not really a blog, that just shows you all the steps and everything you need to get started with using that particular product. So now this is how technical writers actually add value to a company. They add value to the company by putting their products out there, making developers, making customers learn about this product and know how to use them. That is how technical writers add value to a company. And because they're adding value to a company, they are going to be compensated for that. So now, various ways that you can actually make money from technical writing. Number one is having a job as a full-time technical writer at a particular company. The example I gave for Paystack is a very valid one. I'm very sure Paystack has like a team of technical writers, and then these people are paid for managing the documentation of Paystack. And not only Paystack, but like any company at all who has a documentation of some sort, who has a product that they want end users to learn how to use. Even if it's not a technical company, even if it's not a company that's about tech and all, if they have some form of, let's say, FAQ section or user help guide or some form of portal where users can actually learn how to use this application or learn about concepts, technical writers come into play, and that is how you can like make money from that. But now, that is from the full-time employment section. But like as a technical writer, there are also companies who are looking for writers to just write articles about their products. They just want a writer to write an article about their product and post it on their own personal blog, like the writer's personal blog. Or they want the writers to write an article and then they want to post it on their own official blog. And then this is some form of freelance writing. And this is actually like very easy to get started with. So for this, I'll be sharing a GitHub link in the chat section. And then this GitHub link is basically like a compilation of companies who are looking for technical writers. So companies who are looking for technical writers just like post on this particular GitHub repository that, oh, we're looking for writers to write about this particular set of topics. So let me just share my screen. Stop one. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, all right. Okay. So this is the GitHub repository, paid community writer programs. And then if you're scrolling down, you'd see like name of the company, how much you're going to pay you per article, and what they want you to write. So this particular one wants you to write about Web3 stuff, tutorials, guides, and expository content. So they are very different things for very different stack. And this is actually a good way to get started to start making like money as a technical writer. And then let me like share a personal story of mine. When I first got into technical writing, at first I was doing it as a hobby. I had a blog, and then I was just writing articles on my blog and just posting going forward. Then after a while, I found out from a friend, like a friend of mine actually shared this exact link to me. I was like, oh, there are actually companies who pay people to write for them that, oh, just give it a shot or something. Then I came here, I applied to a couple of companies. A couple of companies replied me back and actually like wrote articles for them and actually like got paid. Then at the time I was like juggling two schools at the same time, more like a full boost camp and then school. And then also juggling it with software engineering. So then since the amount of time and effort I actually needed to write an article was actually lesser than my full-time software engineering, I actually like paused on software engineering and went full-time on just freelancing on this particular website here, this particular page here. And then after like a year of doing that, I just took my CV. I took a company of companies that I've written articles for. I just compiled it into a CV, and then I started applying for like full-time technical writing roles. And that was how I landed my first full-time technical writing role. Then that was actually like a contract. Then from there I landed another one, and then that is how I've been doing going forward. So that's actually a very good way to like break into the technical writing space full-time. So now, other ways that you can actually like make money from your writing is you can in a way become like a influencer of some sort, where you have like a blog where you put out high quality content, and then because you put out high quality content, you share it on your social media, you start getting a lot of views. Companies can actually start approaching you and start saying stuff like, oh, we want you to write an article for we want you to write an article for us, and they will actually pay you for this. So that is something that there are actually times when companies have actually reached out to me, let's say through LinkedIn, and like, oh, we saw your article on this. Do you want to? We are starting out something small. We want somebody to create content for us. Are you up for it? There are stuff that has happened to me like that. There are times when I also wrote articles about a particular technology, and somebody would reach out to me and be like, oh, I actually want somebody to work on a small contract for this stuff, and we need you to use this particular technology stack. Is this something you can be able to do? Is this something that you're able to do? And yeah, that is also ways that you can actually leverage your technical writing to actually make money for you. So you can make money from your writing itself by writing for companies and they pay you. You can become a full-time technical writer at a company and they pay you for that. You can also use your writing as a form of marketing for yourself and your brand and actually get contracts and gigs from stuff like that. Now, another thing again I want to mention is Google's season of docs. Let me get a link for that. And then basically what Google season of docs is, like there's something that Google does every year called like Google season of code, where you like where companies like just where open source companies just come and say, oh, we need like people to work on our product and all, then people start applying to them, and the company Google would actually compensate you for this activity, or Google would actually compensate you for actually contributing to this particular company. So now, as Google does that for coding, Google also does the same thing for technical writers and people who manage documentation for open source projects also. And that is what is called Google Season of Docs. So if you open the link, you jump on the page. And I think it happens around, I actually don't know when exactly in the year, but I know it's around this time of the around October, thereabout. That is around the time it happens. Just like take a look at it, and I know it's around the corner. It's around October, November. I know it's usually around ending of the year. But anyway, yeah, something that you should like take a look at. So when Google season of docs starts, companies, different open source projects will just basically like send pitches to Google that, oh, they want people who can who would help us manage our documentation, improve our documentation and stuff like that. And that's actually a way that you can use to like get started, because like when you join one of all these companies, it's something that you can add to your CV going forward. That, oh, I worked with VLC to manage their documentation. I worked with whatever project or whatever protocol to actually develop their documentation going forward. All right. Yeah, I think that is more or less everything. So if anybody has a question, let me just answer that and then we can like, yeah, get going.
Yeah, thank you so much, Solomon, for that section. Yeah, please, if you have any questions, you can just drop them in the chat section, or you can just request to speak. I'll grant you access so that you can ask your question. There's a question here, though. I think the question is for Joel. How do non-developers write technical articles?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just like it's the same process for technical for developers too, where you understand the concept of something. For instance, for non-developers, this covers designers, product managers, and all. For a designer, maybe you're using a tool. I used to hear designers talk about prototypes and all like that, and you understand how to use it in a way, like you explain how it works and all like that. So it's generally the same like way where you create outlines and you follow the whole process up like that. And also they also pay even in the design space, they also pay technical writers to write about their experience, how to use a particular product and all like that. So you can also, yeah, so I think I answered the question.
All right, thank you so much for that, Joel. Yeah, do you have any other questions from anyone? You can request to speak or probably drop it in the chat section. Any question at all?
Yes, I have a question. So my question
Okay,
is
go
to
ahead.
both Joel and Solomon. So I understand that for some people who might want to venture out into these things like for the first time, even though they've been writing, technical articles sometimes can be intimidating. Sometimes when you go to read people writing about APIs and things like that, and probably you're not really a developer, but you want to also write technical articles. So I just want to share your experience. Maybe both of you can share your experience, like when you first started. How was it like for you? Even when you had to apply to these companies and you were given your first task to do, was it intimidating? What were like some of the things you had to like write about? How did you find a comfortable space in technical writing?
That's a great question. Yeah, who's going first? Joel?
Well, let me get started. So your first question was, how do you like actually get started, like for my first time? So for me, I was already a developer. Okay, so first off, basically, technical writing is a combination of knowing the tech and knowing how to write. So it's more or less like you know the tech, you know how to write. Now you're writing about tech. That is what technical writing is. So if you look at it, you actually need two skills. You need your technical skills, you need your writing skills, and technical writing is a product of the both of them. So now when I started writing, I already had the technical skills, but not so much on the writing because I had never like written an article or like a blog before. So all I had to do was just learn the writing skills and then actually apply it to what I already know. So since you are already a writer and you want to delve into, let's say, content writing or something, and you actually want to delve into technical writing, what you have to do is learn about the technical stuff and just apply the writing that you already know and do to technical stuff that you're learning. that is more or less what technical writing is about. And then can you remind me what the second question was again?
Yes, I think you already answered that. Since you said you started off as a technical person, so that means you already had an idea of technical things and you just applied the writing to it.
Exactly. I just started writing about them.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Joel, do you have anything to add to that?
No. Like Solomon already said.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we have some questions in the chat section already. Someone is asking, as we have some of us that are new to technical writing, we'll be able to guide us through maybe via peer-to-peer mentorship. I think Jigumsha will have to decide that, right? So if you are hosting a peer-to-peer mentorship whereby we invite some top-notch people in the technical writing space to come around and and we pair them with some of our community members. I think that's something we might look into very soon. But if you are directing the question directly to the speakers, then yeah, they might tend to answer that going forward if they are open to that or not. What type of accounts can be used to receive revenue from such complaints? Yeah, can we address that? Who can address?
Let me just take that. So basically, different companies have different ways they handle their accounting. Well, before the article even like begins, they would actually communicate the methods that they are comfortable paying out to. Some companies would pay out to your domiciliary account. There are companies who have paid in crypto. There are companies who have paid through Payoneer, PayPal. But at the end of the day, you and the company will just have to discuss what method works best for everybody involved. But you rest assured, you'd actually get your money and you don't really have to bother yourself. But it would help if you have a domiciliary account. Then also, I want to answer like the previous question. So
yeah,
an alternative, instead of looking for peer-to-peer mentorship or like mentorship as a whole, what I did when I was going into technical writing was that I never actually had like I never actually knew any community I could join or like anybody I could meet for mentorship. So what I did was that I had a couple of friends who were also getting into technical writing around the same time. So we just created like a group chat where whenever we learn something new, we just share to each other. Whenever we're working on a particular article, we post it there, we ask for ideas and stuff. When we're actually done with the article, we post it on the group chat for like other people to actually review. So in a way, we're all growing with each other. So that is that's an approach you can try. Get a couple of friends, or let's say you're already on a developer group chat already. You can just ask, oh, who is the technical writer here? And then ask the person, is there like a group chat that you are on that helps or supports technical writers in some form of way? You don't need to look for like, let's say like the very big people in the space to actually get mentorship from. You can actually start from people you already know and then learn and grow along the way.
all right, awesome. Thank you so much for that, Solomon. I have another question here. What were your hurdles, your biggest challenge with writing? How do you advise you can avoid it? Who's going to take that?
Okay, let me take that. I think for me, it's writing about something entirely new, where you get to like converse with the engineers directly, and you're like the first person documenting this thing, or like there are no well explained resources on that concept. Maybe the documentation is poor and you're meant to like write an article about that. So like those writing about such maybe documentation article can be very challenging, but it just takes a lot of like effort. Like you understand the products, like as long at the moment you get to understand the product well, it's already easy for you to like document. So I think the advice is like get to understand the product very well. Okay, like leave writing for now. Understand what you're going to write about like thoroughly, though it may be hard. Like talk to those in charge, maybe talk to the engineers, talk to the developer advocates, talk to like
Is it just me? I will lost Joe.
It's not just you.
and then you see in them, you already.
Hello, Joy.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we lost you at some point. Can you like?
Oh, okay. I was saying that the hardest for me, sorry, the biggest for me is when you're writing about product that you're not familiar with, or like where you have to like talk to the engineer. So I was like saying the advice to like overcome such is like leave writing for now, understand the product, understand like what you're writing about, talk to the engineers, talk to developer advocates, talk to like people connected to the product. In the process of talking to them, you get to even understand more about the products, and you have like enough content to like write. I like that's that for like that's like one for me, and like I was able to like overcome them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joy, for that. So let's pick like 3 more questions before we call it a day. Is it advisable to pick a particular niche or do a general topic approach as a starter? Maybe I should pick like 2 questions at the same time and we can answer it once. Is that fine?
Yes.
Or who will take that? Who wants to take that? Is it advisable to pick a particular niche or do a general topic approach as a starter?
Okay, okay, let me take that. So that particular one is completely up to you. You can take a particular niche or you generalize or you spread across different things. It is completely up to you. And both of them have their benefits. So if you pick a particular niche, let's say you just write about Web3, and that's all you write about, Web3, Web3, Web3. If you wanted to get a full-time job at a Web3 company, it becomes very easy for you because they already see that you are very familiar with the space. And there's a very high chance that you will be preferred over other candidates because you've already shown like evidence that you actually know this stuff. But then if you decide to like spread out and stuff, you spreading out means that you have like knowledge on like very different fields of tech, or you've written about very different fields of tech. So it shows that you know how to write, you know how to take any topic that you have absolutely no idea of and actually produce high quality content from them. But like when you're applying for like a Web3 company now, let's say a particular niche based company, it's more or less like that debate between being a specialist and being a generalist. There is no wrong answer. There's no answer that is very correct. They just have their different ways that they are perceived at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, you're actually good with any of them. When I started writing, I was doing very completely generalist stuff, writing about very completely random stuff. Today it's Python, tomorrow it's one backend stuff, tomorrow it's a developer tool I'm writing an article about. And then when I started working like full time, when I started working full time, it was Web3 company that I was getting into. And at the time when I got like my first ever like full time Web3 role, I just had like only one article on blockchain development. But then since they saw that, oh, I actually know how to pick up very random topics and write about them, so they were like, oh, sure, he'll be able to handle whatever we throw at him. So anyone works, it's completely up to you. There are some people who are generalists normally when it comes to like anything tech. They jump on like different projects, do different languages and stuff. While there are people who just do one particular language and they do it very well. So it's completely up to you at the end of the day.
All right, thank you so much for that. So yeah, so let's pick 2 more questions, and that's all for today. I think one question is, most of these companies already have experienced writers who work for them. How do newbies make their application stand out and considered?
Let me answer this question. So for newbies, the truth is, writers, you work your way up. Like the more you write, like you get to like understand, like you get to like become proficient, like get to the level of these experienced writers. So the truth is, companies will always want to employ somebody that worth the money they are paying. You understand? So, but it's up to you to like learn more, to like write more, to understand their product, and like you have to actually work your way up to actually what like the money that they're actually going to pay you. Understand? So my advice would be like you get to like write more, like understand their product. Like in fact, like Solomon said, write on a variety of things. Like I think that's just the way to like actually stand out. Like you write more, like write even advanced topic, write in details, so that when you are submitting this kind of articles as like proof that you are good enough for them to consider you, like you actually get to like stand out.
Great, thank you so much for that. One final question before we leave is what are some of the most important skills that actually improved you? Like, do you read some documentations online to improve how you can write better? What exactly do you do that helps improve your skills as a technical writer? Who's going to take that? Solomon, Joe? Can you still hear me? Hello? Joe, do you want to take that?
We can hear
I'm
you.
sorry, I missed the question.
Yeah. So the question is, what were some of the skills, some of the most important skills that actually improved you? Like, do you read a lot? Is it by writing more? Like, what are some of the skills that actually improved your writing?
Yeah, like you said, like you get to like read what your colleagues are writing. Like, you know, the more you read, the more you write. Putting these two together, like it actually improves. Like you see how another person like structures his own articles. You see how he's able to like introduce the article in a catchy and direct form. You understand? So the more you read and the more you write, putting these two together like actually helps you write better.
All right, great. Thank
Okay,
you so
let
much.
me also speak on that. So for me, I feel the most important skill that really helped me was knowing how to like communicate. So like I've always been the kind of person that would normally learn things fast and then not just learning things, but explain stuff to people. I'm always that kind of person who explains stuff to people, who gets into conversations about like different concepts and topics and all, and we actually like have a conversation on it. Or give talks at like events where I teach like the audience about a particular thing. So me being able to pick up something, learn it, and actually teach other people was actually like the skill that I know that really helped me in writing. Because when I wanted to get into writing, all I had to do was that the same thing I was explaining to people, the same thing I was conversing with people, the same thing I was always talking about. All I had to do was just write it down. And that was more or less technical writing in that way.
That's great. That's a great perspective to see it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this. I guess we have all answered some of the questions that has been on our minds for a while. It's great to have all of us here. There's someone asked the question about communities to join. Yes, DJ Gumosho will be creating a community. So for those that are registered online through the link, you get a mail as regards to some of the resources that we'll be sharing to you. Then a link to the WhatsApp community platform will also be sent to you via email. Those that are registered through the registration link and you registered on the Bevy platform, you will receive emails for the resources as well as some of the links that was dropped in the comment section today. So everything will be sent to you via email via email. Let me put it that way. So thank you everyone again for joining this conversation. Yeah, and I've
very
very
much.
wonderful.
Can we make remarks or?
Yeah, thank you so much to our speakers as well, Solomon and Joe. We appreciate you for granting our requests to come here and have a conversation with us. Have a wonderful
Hello,
day,
please.
everyone.
Hello, before we go, sorry.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, please. I dropped a message on the chat box. Like, if any of you guys can actually share your social media handles, particularly the presenters today, Joel and Solomon. And again, I just want to make this remark. I'm actually grateful for this opportunity, and it's actually enlightening for every one of us to participate. Personally, I really appreciate this, and I really hope that every other person can do. And may Lord God bless you all. Amen.
All right, thank you so much. Please, Joel and Solomon, please can you drop your handles on the comment section if you're comfortable doing that. Thank you once again, everyone.
Your handles, please.